Many of the angles were rather basic when compared to today. Nowadays, we have big cranes that help us get better shots like overhead shots, long shots, and extreme close-ups. We also have Steadicams which can quickly follow action, movement, etc. For example, when the chief was strangling Mac at the end of the movie, they could have used more intense close-ups, such as showing the scars on his head more clearly. Since they did not do this, it created some confusion as to why he was being killed. However, when the chief ran away at the end of the movie, they did a very good job showing his freedom with the pan-out effect.
The acting in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was phenomenal. Jack Nicholson's lively personality made the ending come as a devastating shock. Each patient in the hospital acted their part out with the perfect amount of comedy and believability, making us gain sympathy and love for each character. Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher, played her part perfectly as well. We got the rude, cold vibe she was giving off through the entire movie, and her acting made us detest her. For example, when the patients wanted to watch the football game, and she was doing everything in her power to make sure they didn't. When the chief finally raised his hand, making the vote 7-11, she claimed that the polls were closed, and that they could not watch TV. Speaking of the chief, his role was played very well also. He made us believe that he was unable to speak and communicate with others. But by the end, we found out that he spoke and was completely interactive. When he put Randall out of his misery by suffocating him with the pillow, and when he broke out of the window at the end, were two very touching emotional scenes. The reason people feel those scenes so deeply is because of the acting.
The flow of the story was a little bit choppy. The story moved very quickly, and it was confusing as to how much time had passed. There were times where it went from one scene to a completely different scene very quickly, without explanation. For example, one minute the patients would be in the hospital, and the next moment they would be on a boat. As well, part of the story was unrealistic. The residents escaped multiple times without anyone stopping them or having anything to say. They stole a bus with ease, which is not realistic considering the fact that in general, patients are always being supervised.
There were not many clear symbols portrayed in the movie. However, one that we understood was when the chief threw the sink out the window at the end. At the beginning of the movie, Mac tried to do this, but failed. When the chief succeeded at this, it was a symbol of freedom for both him and Mac. The cigarettes that were taken away from the patients can also be seen as a symbol for lack of freedom. The fact that grown men are stripped of their belongings can be seen as a type of imprisonment.